What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? It is Jason and Jason and John. We are joined on this fabulous episode of Julie Talk. John, how are you today?
You know what? I know that this may be a controversial statement, but I enjoy Julie Talk. I mean, I don't want to spoil the rating that I'm going to give at the end of the show, but I thought this was a refreshing switch, if you will. That's
not going to give away my rating either, John,
Okay.
but I'm just going to say we might actually be on the same page. We'll find out.
Okay. All right. Gotcha. Oh, there's our man, Justin. He was running a little bit late. There he is.
Woke up from his nap.
Hey, don't be knocking a nap. I took a nap today.
Dude, all I've done today is nap. I napped, woke up, posted a thing on TikTok, fell asleep, woke up, posted a thing on TikTok, fell asleep, texted Justin a screenshot of TikTok, fell back asleep. I guess it's been my whole day today. We had a video, dude. So it got up to 86,000 views on TikTok, and then it stalled out. I wouldn't say it stalled out, but it slowed down. We started, the 86 came fast, and then it slowed down. We got maybe 1,000 every couple days or so. And then this morning, between 7 a.m. and like noon, we got another 10,000 views, and it shot past 100,000, and it's been going since. And it's been kind of exciting. It's fun when those videos just like start riding the wave.
That's nice. That's good, man. Congrats. What was the video about?
I was Chris Candy talking about his dad.
Oh, okay. I saw that one. Yeah, I saw that one last week when you first posted it.
I posted it, I think, 3 weeks ago now.
Okay.
4 weeks ago, something like that. But yeah. So we tried to recreate it by posting a video of Jen Candy talking about her dad. It didn't go as fast. It's at 700 right now, but we're working on it.
That's all right. Look, people, if you are out there and you're watching us and you're enjoying Mattalk, just keep in mind that trying to figure out like audience and keeping an audience through a broadcast, et cetera, it's a lot of hard work and a lot of puzzling questions that you have to ask, because one will go, just like you said, the one with Chris Candy went bonkers. The one with his daughter Jen, you would think it would go bonkers too, but alas, that's not how the algorithm works in the world.
Man, it's like a perfect storm of events.
Yeah,
like you got to get the right time, and I think Justin and I have kind of figured out the timing, especially with YouTube. You got to get the right time, you got to get the right hashtags, and just it's exhausting. Mm-hmm. We need somebody from Generation Z to run our social media for us.
Right.
Which you guys can email us at benmattalk@gmail.com or 3geekspodcast@gmail.com.
First of all, Gen Zs are going to slide in the DMs, I believe.
Oh, is that what they do?
I think. I don't know. I
wish I could live as hip as John Orlando does, folks.
I am the farthest thing from hip. I mean, unpaid intern for the unpaid podcast. I love it. That's the pitch right there from our producer Justin. There you go. All right. As we always do, let's talk some TV. Jason, what have you been watching recently?
So MeTV has just been, I talked about this on 3 Geeks last night, but I've been watching the Mask cartoon. That has been like my shining light of my last few weeks. But other stuff, I was watching Inspector Gadget the other day. And I talked about it just a little bit yesterday, but not a lot. And as I'm watching Inspector Gadget, and this is kind of how my mind works, and I'm like, man, Inspector Gadget and Amelia Bedelia would have been one hell of a couple. Okay, can we make that happen, Hollywood? Like the next Hallmark movie, I want a rom-com where Inspector Gadget just got done with a mission. He's at a restaurant, and then in strolls Amelia Bedelia, and they hook up, because I think they'd be just perfect for each other.
There you go. You've heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
And I want Ellie Kemper to play Amelia Bedelia from
Kimmy Schmidt.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Who would play Inspector Gadget?
I don't know. So you need somebody that's likable, kind of like she is, but can also play, I don't want to say dumb, but mentally challenged.
How about Josh Jackson from Dawson's Creek?
He's too old, though. But I guess Ellie Kemper's 45. That shocked me.
Yeah, I was going to say, what do you
I watched a rom-com with her the other day. Like, I thought she was way younger than me.
No, She's in her mid 40s. Okay, not Josh Jackson. Then uh, let's see, someone else that would be good for Inspector Gadget. Hmm, hmm. That's a great question.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I don't know.
How about Idris Elba?
See, he's too good for Inspector. We need somebody like John Adams, but John Adams isn't with us anymore. I need Don Adams back.
Yeah. Justin, our producer, says Jim Carrey.
He's too old.
He's in his late 50s, early 60s, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
you looked that up. I know you're looking it up. So I'm going to throw out there the two shows that I started watching. I was looking very much forward to The Boys. Since they've dropped 5 episodes, I went ahead and went on a binge and watched 4 out of the 5, and now they just dropped 6. He's 62, is Jim Carrey. Okay. So I'm enjoying The Boys. I know for some folks out there, it might not be your cup of tea because it's pretty violent and over the top, but I like the comic books a lot. Although I haven't read them in a minute because my girlfriend had said something about the ending of The Boys on Amazon. I said, well, they've stated that there's only one more season and then they're ending it at 5. And she said something about one of the characters. I'm like, I can't tell you anything because she was fishing to find out about the ending. And I'm like, well, I know how the comic ends, but I don't know how the TV show will end. So there could be some differences there. And then I started thinking, Jason, I'm like, I'm not sure that I know what happens to all of the characters because I can't remember what happens to 2 of the characters. There's, because there's 5 total in The Boys. And, but anyways, I'm enjoying that. And I started to revisit Vice Principals, which is an old HBO show. Not really old. It's from like 2017 with Danny McBride, Walton Goggins, both of whom I thoroughly enjoy. And I started season 2. There's only 2 seasons. And you know what? I watched season 1. And then for a long story, and I know you can empathize, Jason, like, I didn't have HBO. This was before HBO Max was a big thing. And so because I like both those individuals, I just went ahead and bought the DVD. So I bought season 1 DVD, like right when it came out. Cause I'm like, I don't care. I don't have to see any of it. I know Walton and I know Kenny Powers, Danny McBride. So I like those 2. And so I did. And then season 2 came out, it ended. And then I want to say almost like a year and a half, there was no DVD for the second season. So I never watched it. And then eventually as a Christmas gift, somebody got me both seasons. I'm like, oh, okay. So I have the complete series. So I just decided the other day, let's break it out. Let's watch it. It hasn't disappointed. It is hilarious. If you like Danny McBride and Eastbound and Down or The Righteous Gemstones, and it's more of the same. So, by the way, our producer Justin said Idris is 51. So there you go, a little bit closer. But Jason, are you watching anything else besides the great cartoons on the new MeTV Cartoon Network?
I'm in the middle of trying to find a show to watch that I can binge. I'm looking at my USA roster to see what USA shows I haven't watched yet since I've been digging those. But I am weekly, and I'll have a review up on 3 Geeks tomorrow for Orphan Black Echoes episode 3. I love that show. And then My Adventures with Superman. I love that show as well. It's an animation with kind of an anime inspired animated twist. It's a good show. Doesn't follow the Superman lore closely, but I don't need it to because I've read the Superman lore. I can do something new.
Maybe have you checked out Silk Stockings from USA Network? Maybe you should check that one out.
No, that's an older one, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
I tried LA Law and I couldn't do it. The music. It's got music? Very, very stereotypical like soap opera music.
Oh, okay. All right.
I might give it another shot down the road, but I couldn't do it. And I was excited for it too because that's just got a hell of a cast. I'm thinking about the Saint Elsewhere.
Yeah, that's a solid one. You should
Got Mr.
definitely.
Feeney, Denzel Washington.
Howie Mandel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
cool.
a hell of a cast. Mr.
Mm.
Feeney's wife is in it.
Yeah,
Real
with Deidre Hall, is that her name? No, Deidre Hall is not his wife. But Deidre Hall's in it. In St. Elsewhere, I'm pretty sure of. Well, Jason, shall we start talking about this episode of Julie?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, if you've got, since we're all set to go, let's go ahead and kick things off with our opening statements. The episode that we are going to review and discuss is called The Broker, and the original air date is December 4th, 1990. And we are joking about Julie March. We'll talk a little bit more about her. It is, don't worry, it is still an episode of Matlock. We're not trying to confuse anyone that they tuned
No,
into the
guys.
wrong show.
As a matter of fact, today's first guest we're going to talk about is Andy Griffith is the guest star in this episode. You guys might know him from the Andy Griffith Show, a lovely movie called Waitress that also has, I believe, Nathan Fillion in it. And
Bradley Cooper, too. I think Bradley Cooper's in it. No, it's not Bradley Cooper. It's Jeremy Sisto. My bad. Yeah. Waitress is awesome. He is fantastic in Waitress. If you haven't, I want to see the play. They have a Broadway play of it.
I was just shocked we got to see him in this episode. I was very pleasantly surprised at this episode of Julie.
All right, well, let's talk about our guest stars. The first one, I believe that her first name is pronounced Sinji Coleman as Taylor Sinclair. You may also know her as Hope Adams on The Young and the Restless, and she played that role for many, many, many episodes. She also was Suzanne Mordesky on the X-Files. Sharon Reeves on The River's Edge. Libby Page on Human Target. Suzanne Jeffries on Another World, and about another 20 to 30 roles as well on her resume. Jason, just real quickly, I think that we have definitely in the past talked about it, and I think we should just revisit this topic before, because lots of new folks and whatnot have been watching and listening. It seems that an awful lot of individuals that were on soap operas end up guest starring on Matlock.
1,000%. I was thinking that too, but you missed two of her other like big roles. Was Guiding Light, which I've never seen, but she was in 21 episodes of that. And then what was the other one? It's right here, Santa Barbara. She was in 105 of those.
Yeah, so a heavy dose of soap operas for Miss Coleman. But yeah, so hey, if it works for you, I just want to know, like, is there a story behind that? Was there like one of the producers was like, we could get these people, they have a freer calendar, they're more flexible, maybe we can pay them a little less. I don't know, but you know what I mean? Like, I wonder if there's a backstory to why so many of these individuals were from soap operas like Santa Barbara, Young and the Restless, Guiding Light, etc. All right, let's talk about Jerry Hardin. He is our next guest star. He will be playing the role of Avery Campbell. You may also know him as the character Deep Throat on X-Files, Dr. Cassidy on Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, Dennis Carter on Melrose Place, D.A. Malcolm Gold on the aforementioned L.A. Law, Dr. Graham on Who's the Boss, Pinstripe Lawyer in Big Trouble in Little China, and Thibodeau in the movie Blaze. Okay, I'm going to admit something here that's probably going to be shocking to many people. I have never seen Big Trouble in Little China.
I have not either. So
really?
You're not shocking me, my friend.
Okay, I shocked your dog, I believe.
I do want to see Big Trouble in Little China. I would love to, but I have not yet.
Well, I remember the video cassette for Blaze at my local video store growing up. Blaze was it was quite a controversial film on the wall, as it was like a biopic, and it starred Paul Newman as this senator who apparently had an affair with this stripper, and it was all the buzz like back in the 70s or whatever, and it was like a biopic of it, but the front cover was kind of salacious and a little bit tawdry, so I always, as a kid, was like, "Ooh, what's that?" You know?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And Jerry Holling was also in Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, which was one of my favorite shows growing up because I am a Superman fan. Also in an episode of Ally McBeal, which is a very, very good show.
All right, let's wrap up with our final guest star, a gentleman by the name of Andrew J. Robinson. He will be playing the role of Stanley Hayden,
That is
aka
not our final guest star. We've got one more after that one. You missed
Do-
the big one, John.
What? Get out of here. Okay, well, anyways, Stanley Hayden, who is going to be the boss of Julie March. You may know him as Garak on Star Trek Deep Space Nine, Sergeant Botnick in Child's Play 3, Larry in Hellraiser, Admiral Thomas Cly on Jag, Henry Willison in a TV movie featuring a TV movie, focusing on Rock Hudson. He also played Liberace in a Liberace biopic. Detective Monty in Cobra, Frank Ryan and Ryan's Hope, and nearly 75 other roles for Mr. Robinson. All right, Jason, who's this other one I missed?
Edward Edwards. He played John Randall. And look, how lazy can a human being be? You're going to name your kid whose last name is Edward. You're going to name him Edward. Like, I don't get it. It's lazy. John wouldn't name his kid Orlando's.
Okay, first of all, ladies and gentlemen, I have to share a little bit of backstory here. What was it, Tuesday? Tuesday you called me. It's like, who names their kid Edward Edwards? And like, he just went on this giant rant. And that's why I was perplexed as to who I missed, but I did miss Mr. Edwards, which growing up, I used to get TV stations out of Pittsburgh, and WPTT 22 had a spokesman named Eddie Edwards. He was an African-American gentleman who was like, don't forget to watch The Twilight Zone. But he was on air when he would give you the rundown, and this is Eddie Edwards for WPTT 22. So if anybody,
this guy's poor parents didn't care about him, I do, and I'm going to give you a few things he was in. He was in an episode of NYPD Blue, a couple episodes of Desperate Housewives, an episode of Boston Legal. He has been steadily working. And how does that conversation go? You're in the hospital, you just had a baby. What do you want to name him? Edward. But your last name is Edwards. Yeah, Edward. No. That's how that conversation should go. No, you can't name your kid its last name for the first name. Anyway, John.
Hey, wait. Time out. I think I remember reading a story or an article about some Scandinavian country. You have to apply to name your kid. And so like all of them get rubber stamped if it's like Thomas or Catherine, but if you get like weird ones, like this instance, they have the right to reject it and they have to meet with you to come up with a different name. I'm pretty darn, I can't remember what country that is. But anyways, there you go.
I didn't name my daughter Taylor.
No, thankfully you did not. So
yeah, we can all hope that Justin names his kid Corleone. All right, John, take us into the next segment.
All right. With that, Jason, it's time for me to get an opinion from you. Your opinion, solely your opinion. So help you. Are you ready to testify?
Julie's show, there should have been different music. I don't think Julie would go for this.
What song would Julie sing? Because we know Ben loves to strum the ukulele or whatever that contraption is.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. That's Julie's theme music there. Anyways, we're still getting nailed for that copyright. Anyways, all right, let's talk about the plot. Ben must. It was funny because it said here Ben and Conrad must help Julie with a case where a stockbroker is accused of killing the man who fired him. But I'm like, yeah, Conrad's not in this episode whatsoever.
No, Conrad is not. Spoiler
Yeah.
alert, John. Have it
All
on
right.
good authority that in a few episodes we're going to get both Michelle and Conrad.
Why do you say that?
I read ahead on the synopsis, but
Oh, okay.
wrong. So
All right. Well, let's cut to the opening scene where it's nighttime in Atlanta. The city is all lit up, and two businessmen are arguing vehemently in their offices, and a couple of other employees are leaving, and they're kind of like, and they go and peek in, and it's Avery and Richard Wagner just arguing back and forth. Avery's banging this candlestick on the table like he's Nikita Khrushchev, and he's like, "Yeah, you can't fire me," and it's all about being fired. That's Richard's firing Avery, and he's very upset about that. So later on in the next scene, we see that, of course, Jason, as one does, Richard, working late in the office, even though he knows that Avery's very angry with him, he's cool, man. Nothing's going to happen. I'll just be here working. And then lo and behold, guess what happens? Bonk on the top of the head with the candlestick by a masked, mysterious intruder.
I missed that on my first viewing was the candlestick, and then I heard it later. You know, he was killed in the office with the candlestick, and I'm like, did we watch Clue? Like,
yeah. So we go to Julie's office, and she's got paperwork all over the place. All right.
I mean, you'd have to hit somebody hard to kill them with a candlestick.
Well, not if the candlestick's weighted at the end.
Okay.
You know, if it's got a weight to the end, you know, you could probably thump somebody pretty good with that.
Okay.
I would imagine so. So we
With
go to
just
Julie's
one
office.
hit, though, I think you'd have to take several hits to kill somebody with a candlestick.
Again, I think depending on how heavy it is.
I don't know. Let us know, guys, down in the comments and stuff.
Or as Justin just stated, or the candlestick is a gun. Right, true. It could be a candlestick that you turn over. Boom! There you go.
Not in this case, though.
Not in this case. It's not James Bond. Anyways, we go to Julie's office, and Stan shows up, her boss, and asked her to take the Wagner case. And she's like, look, I got too many cases as it is. But the boss, he's not hearing it. He is not hearing it. All right? So we go back to the brokerage house, and Detective Brooks is there interviewing Mr. Randall, John Randall, and Taylor Sinclair. And they talk about, yeah, you know, Avery got fired. We heard that, you know, he was unhappy, et cetera, et cetera. So then Julie shows up to the scene, and Bob and her decide to go talk to Avery Campbell. And the motive for Avery is, hey, man, I got fired from the firm, and I really don't have an alibi. I tried to call my son. He didn't answer. You know, the custodian that's there at nights saw Avery at 8:30 p.m. when he was supposed to be at home. He was supposed to be already at home. So that's a little bit of a conundrum for Avery. I will say this: I enjoyed the presentation from Mr. Jerry Hardin, the actor, on Avery. He really made Avery kind of be sympathetic a little bit, I think. What do you say?
No, I agree.
Mm-hmm. So we go to another interaction between Stan and Julie, where Stan is very much upset, and he's putting the pressure on Julie to get the indictment, okay? So we go to a courtroom.
Avery, I get that he said, you know, they threw in the line short staffed and everything. But I would think that if a DA wasn't into trying somebody, like they couldn't put their heart in it because I didn't believe they were guilty, that they would find somebody else, even with those circumstances. Like, I'm going to take you off this case. I'm going to put her on here, and I need you to take this one. Because Julie prosecuting him, if her heart's not into it, just doesn't seem like the right move.
I would also think, because I'm pretty sure I heard this somewhere, like if you're a smaller county and you only have, say you have 2 prosecuting attorneys, you have a major case, they can bring in another prosecutor from like Franklin County. You know what I mean? Like, oh, you know, Jefferson County, Ohio only has 2. They only have 2 prosecutors. We'll get somebody from Franklin County to come in, you know, or something like that. So being short-staffed, I think, was a little bit of a easy way to kind of manipulate the script a little bit.
Mm.
So we're in the courtroom, and Avery does talk to Julie in the hallway regarding his alibi, and he says, "Look, I lied. I got fired. I went into the copy room. I started making copies of my client list so I could take them with me, since I was going to kind of maybe start my own firm or start working for another firm." All right. So the bail is set at $10,000, which I thought was incredibly cheap, especially given some of the other bails that we've heard of here on Matlock.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Julie arrives at home, and poor Ben, he's so sad. He's sitting on the steps. He's got flowers in his hand, and Julie forgot all about their dinner. So Ben decides, I'll cook something. And it just so happens that there's enough stuff in the fridge in Julie's house that he can whip up.
Nowadays, see, I kind of wish, I don't, because it was a peaceful time back then, but back then there's not a whole lot about, individual episodes. Like now, all of the drama that happens on every show, every week, behind the scenes. So if you go and want to try to research Matlock, why aren't these normal cast members in this particular episode, or what are they doing? Maybe they're in other projects or so forth. It's almost so impossible to find out. Why did they decide to give Andy Griffith a backseat and do this? Was this for spinoff potential? Because if it was, she should have got it. Spoiler alert to my final synopsis on this episode.
Well, you know what? Again, we've talked about the chemistry between Julie and Ben. It is fantastic. It's on display again with this episode. In fact, this was kind of a touching scene, if you will. That definitely Ben comes in and tries to be the white knight and the good guy, makes something out of nothing in the refrigerator. And they discuss the Wagner case a little bit. And so, yeah, I think that I'm not sure that this was a spinoff, but I think it was a change of pace that I enjoyed. I thought was, let's give her the shot. Here we go. Because we saw a little bit of that with Michelle in a previous episode. So,
my question is, though, was this something that they wanted to do, or did Andy Griffith just want kind of a little break? That's the kind of stuff I'm fascinated about. And like I said, back then, there's just not a lot of information on stuff like that. You would know now.
Oh. Do you know, I thought this whole line of dialogue that we were having, this little conversation, I thought you were starting it off with I thought you were going to talk about something about DoorDash, because you were like, I know it's now modern times, and I'm like, he's going to talk about DoorDash and how great it is, and that. No, you surprised me, good sir. Surprised me.
Hardly ever talk about DoorDash, but if you're in the Columbus area, I might deliver your pizza to you. All right, John, continue.
Well, unfortunately, the mood of the evening is destroyed when Julie gets the phone call that Avery Campbell has killed himself. Man, talk about a swerve there. I didn't see that coming. And Julie is devastated and feels like she is totally guilty for his death. She just feels like I pushed him to testify. I shouldn't have taken this case, et cetera, et cetera. So the next day, Julie and Ben, they show up at the crime scene. And Brooks is there, and he shows Ben the gun and the suicide note. And Julie interviews Avery's son. Now, Avery's son apparently borrowed the car, I think they said Saturday, and he returned it the following day, Sunday. And so basically, the timeline of the murder and the timeline of Avery's son returning the car, they kind of match up. So there's no way that actually Avery could have been the killer of Wagner and then killed himself. But they do find the murder weapon in Avery's car because, again, no one locks their car door. Simple, folks. It's simple. I know that we differ on that opinion, Jason. I know.
I just want to save money on my glass. That's all I'm saying. I'm not going to touch the weapon if it's put in my car. I will have that going for me. My DNA or prints won't be on it, but
well, there you go. Okay, there you go. Well, anyways, Julie confesses to Ben that she thinks something's fishy. that why would Avery kill himself? He doesn't have a motive for killing himself. He got fired, but his son was there. There's just some things that don't jive. She believes that it's a murder. All right. She believes that indeed somebody killed Avery to cover up the murder of Mr. Wagner. So it's all kind of connected. So the next scene, Julie interviews Betty Gold. She was the secretary for many, many years with Mr. Wagner. She then interviews Taylor Sinclair, who admits that she had issues with Richard because, hey, man, I'm a woman and I'm doing my own thing in this brokerage house. And on top of that, I'm making more money for my clients than you, chump. I don't think she said it that way, but nonetheless. And then our final interview, Julie interviews John Randall out in the parking lot. John Randall says, look, I had no reason to kill Wagner because, hey, man, he was my mentor. Why would I do that, you know? So we go back to the courtroom, all right? And Stan reprimands Julie about her continuing to work on the Wagner case when he told her not to do it. So back to more genuine and cute dialogue between Julie and Ben. Splat! Right on the butt. Like that whole story of Ben misbehaving. Splat! Right on the butt was somewhat humorous.
Yeah.
What say you?
Spit wads. Ben, I didn't know you had it in you.
I didn't either. To be roped into doing something devious like this. You know, those kids were like, yeah, let's get Matlock to do it. And then they didn't do it. They were like, no, don't. He'll shoot his and splat right on the butt.
Let's get the kid who always giggles when somebody kisses somebody.
Yeah, exactly. Well, anyways, Julie and Ben continue to discuss the case a little bit more over dinner. And Ben offers that, you know, hey, Conrad can help. No, Conrad's not helping Ben because he's not in the episode. Julie then goes to talk to John Randall, and he is the new head of the brokerage firm. And things get a little bit testy between the two. Things get a little bit heated. They kind of go back and forth. And so as Julie's leaving, she finds out that Betty is the new secretary to Taylor Sinclair. And Julie pulls out some gossip from her because Betty knows everything that's going on, right? She's the gossip hound. She knows who's zooming who's making money, who's going to get fired, et cetera, et cetera.
Who's zooming who, John? Nice euphemism.
And that's from an 80s song, and I don't remember what song. But anyways, so Julie ends up going to a florist, all right? And then, because this is a florist that apparently John Randall used quite a bit. And then she goes, and ladies and gentlemen, for younger people in the audience, they had these things back in the 80s and 90s called payphones. You may or may not be familiar with them, but it was an actual telephone that was on the sidewalk and like sometimes in a booth, sometimes just hang on the wall in a fancy little setup, and you could call people on it.
Did you do the collect call trick on the phone book, the payphones?
No.
Oh, dude, me and my buddies used to do it all the time. It's or to our parents too. Like,
okay,
hello,
well,
will you accept collect call charges from Mom? The movie's over. Come pick me up at the theater.
No, I'm not. I know what you mean. Yes, but no.
Or will you accept charges from? Hey, dude, we're at the video game store. Come hang out with us.
Wasn't there the famous Domino's ad like, "Ooh, it's a pizza baby boy" or something like that? There was a famous commercial.
I just remember skimming the collect call companies.
Oh man, no, I never did that.
COLLECT.
1-800 collect.
That was a real number.
I know. No, 1-800 collect was a proud sponsor of WCW wrestling. So, all right. Well, Ben and Julie are in a stakeout in her car. John Randall arrives at an apartment building, and Ben and Julie go and they find out through some of their mischievousness. They knock on the door of, I think, apartment 26 or 36 or something. And that Celeste Wagner is there because she is having an affair with Johnny Randall. Did you see this coming?
No.
I did not either. Now, this puts suspicion on them, but they have an alibi. They're like, look, yeah, we were hanging out at this apartment, and basically the garbage disposal went kaput. And so the manager was here from like 8 o'clock till 10, 11 o'clock fixing it.
Likely story. Just kidding.
Yeah. Coming from the two adulterers who lie all the time. Anyways, Julie goes back to the brokerage house and she wants to get some more information. And she asks Betty if Betty can you give me some of these files? And basically Betty's like, I can, but I'm going to get in trouble. And then guess what? Julie has, wha-bang, I got me a subpoena. So your butt is covered. And so Julie goes on a fact-finding mission. We go back to a scene in the courtroom where Julie and Ben are in the hallway. And Julie wants Ben to contact a connection in the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission. Ben doesn't want to do it. Ben loves this guy. He's a great friend, but he's like, every
time I call him, he invites me to dinner, and then his wife tries to fix me up with one of her newly widowed friends, and I don't want to go. Will you tell her that you are taking Benjamin Matlock?
That was a great uncanny demonstration there. What am I thinking of? Recreation. That's exactly. Ben gets a little whiny. He does get a little whiny. But good for Julie to stick up and say, you tell that hussy that you're a taken man. All right. Stan and Julie talk one more time about the Wagner case. And Stan's like, look, you can go check out Avery's place and then that's it. This is done. No more, miss. No more. So Julie goes to Avery's, of course, on a windy and dark and rainy night. And as she's in the house looking over stuff, she hears a noise, a bang. And she goes and finds out that the front door is not closed. Ooh, spooky.
I mean, it's the only time to go search a house is when it's windy and rainy and you think a murderer's out there. Like, that's the best time to go and not bring any kind of weapon. Fantastic.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Ben is trying to get a hold of Julie, but he keeps getting her voicemail. And so Julie finds some evidence that Taylor is involved. All right. And she tries to call someone, but guess what, Jason? The phone is out. And then what do you know?
Jason Voorhees is on the premise. He's going to get her. All phone lines have been cut off.
Mm-hmm. And then what do you know? The lights go out.
Yeah. She's very lucky she dates a stalker.
What? What?
Ben, he's like all over her. He called her phone and starts talking to the answering machine. Like, oh, Julie, I'm so glad. Like, he had the cops there fast.
He did. There's a mystery person in the hallway. Julie runs and locks the door to the study. The bad guy shoots out the locks. Julie then runs to another door, opens it. Ben is there, and they collide, and everybody's startled. But then Ben hustles Julie away out of the gunfire because I believe one more shot was fired before Bob Brooks shows up. He grabs the perpetrator. It's revealed that it is Taylor. Because why was she there? Because Taylor left glasses the night that she offed Wagner. Did she off Wagner or did she off Avery? Ooh, I didn't put that down in my notes. Which person did she off, Jason?
She did both of them.
Yeah, she did both of them, but okay. All right, but I thought that they had made a finite decision on which one. My bad. Small brain fart, ladies and gentlemen. My notes failed me. So Julie gives a closing statement, which wasn't very... I felt this closing statement, they were like, oh, crap. We need 4 more minutes of footage.
It's more of it was an opening statement because she kept saying, you will find out this,
you
will find out that.
Yeah. So Ben watches from the courtroom galley, and then they are off to go have dinner. All right, Jason, anything else that we overlooked that you would like to touch base on?
No, but I got a confession, John. I have to quit Mattalk. So yesterday on 3 Geeks podcast, we were talking about hot dogs because we did our favorite cookout foods. And Daniel Snow referenced Charlie, and I had no idea what he was talking about. So I have to turn in my cards, my pass. Daniel Snow will be the new host of Mattalk with you next week, John. I am ashamed. I'm ashamed.
It's okay. We all make mistakes. Look, I forgot which murder that Taylor was accused of. It's okay. We do not have to be perfect. In fact, I say many times, I am not Mr. Perfect. He's dead. So, moving on. Hopefully some wrestling fans got that joke. Anyways, with that, are you ready to get into our closing statements?
I was born ready, John.
Then let's get on into those closing statements.
This is the part of the podcast where John and I will rate the show on a gavel system. 5 gavels means we loved it. 1 gavel means we didn't love it. Negative 27 gavels means we are going to become stockbrokers. Bad news is we don't know anything about stocks. So I'm going to be homeless living in a bag on the side of the road because I'm going to lose all your money really, really fast. John, where do you put this on your rankings?
On my rankings. Very well done, by the way. I give it 4 gavels. I didn't think it was bad. I enjoyed the focus on Julie. I thought that was something different. I'm glad that they're trying something different. You know, we talked last week about the different way in which they had the flashbacks inserted into the episode. I like that there was a decent motive. Okay, greed, money. Okay. I don't think we've seen 2 killings in a while, so I like that. But I think the overall glaring issue is some of our favorite characters are not in this episode. No Michelle, no Conrad.
I mean, Michelle's only been in 2 episodes this season?
I know. And Ben was very limited in his role. But overall, I was entertained with it. I liked it. Again, Ben and Julie's interactions are fantastic. So, yeah, I'm happy with my rating, 4.
I loved this episode, and like I said, I watched it twice. So I've been watching them all twice, but yeah, I really loved it. And when I say I watched it a second time, I actually watched it. I didn't just have it on in the background and try to catch a few things I missed. And yeah, it's a fantastic episode. Nice change of pace. One of the better episodes we've had in I think 3 or 4 weeks. So it was a nice change of pace. I hope we can go back up. So
absolutely,
I give it a 4.5 out of 5. The Julie show was fantastic.
You know, the funny part is you talk about becoming stockbrokers. I actually have a guy that does some of my investments because you're right, Jason. Like, I'm too stupid when it comes to math to figure out how to do my own stock portfolio. I'm like, I'll gladly pay that dude's monthly fee for him to manage it because I have no clue what I'm doing. So, all right. Well, with that yawn, I guess we better start wrapping things up. What's going on with 3 Geeks Podcast, man?
We are live Saturdays at 7 p.m. We're counting down to our big 10-year anniversary show. What are we doing for our 10-year anniversary? I don't know, but we'll get there. It'll happen eventually. I'll figure it out. But we are airing some of our favorite interviews and episodes on Sundays. We had a marathon today. We did 3 of them, so definitely go jump on YouTube and check that out.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I might show up in a couple of those.
You do show up on a couple of those. And you guys can find us anywhere that you find podcasts and everything at 3 Geeks Podcast. Find me at 3 Geeks J.
You can find me on X at PVDMVP, or you can also drop me a line over on the Instagram, Facebook, or Threads accounts at PVDcast. PVDcast.com is the online home of yours truly. Great episode that just dropped this past week. That's right. I'm back in the saddle for PVDcast 434. I sit down and chat with Sydney Kitt. She is an independent comic book creator in Columbus, Ohio, and she runs a great organization called the Columbus Cartoon Coalition, C3. It helps not really new, any independent creator with trying to find answers to questions that they might have, resources that they might need, et cetera, et cetera. So check it out, again, over at pvdcast.com or wherever you find great podcasts. So, all right, with that, Jason, shall we roll on out of here?
That's right, John. Let's go invest in dirt. Everybody, we will talk to you soon.
As they say in court, nothing further.